Mic check. Welcome to the Australia-New Zealand Open Wheel Division 1 Championship for another week. I'm your host, Mike Wilson, and this is round 6 from China. And the cars are coming round onto the grid. We are about to get underway in just moments. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We had a false start in the first place. I'm not 100% sure if the Simo was meant to be up there in third or not. There was a penalty, but I guess we'll see what happens. It's something that'll have to be dealt with after the race. Either way, we are on the grid now and about to get underway for China as the cars head off the grid in these damp conditions. Who's going to get the best start in the greasy conditions? It looks like the big Sheesh. He jumps into the lead ahead of Pump Mastiff. The Ferrari of the Simo stays in third, but looking around the outside of the number 46 Mercedes, there's a McLaren there of Breno with Whitey on his outside. Will they all get through the first couple of corners safely? In these slowed down conditions, it might actually make it a bit easier to avoid each other. The Alfa Romeo's touch! Mort keeps it together. He was heading on a one-path direction to the wall, but manages to keep it in one spot. Goes outside his teammate, who becomes sandwiched between Mort and the Renault. There's a piece of front wing going flying off there. Who was that? I think it might have been his teammate. No, it's Mort himself. Loses the front right end plate off that front wing. That's going to make his life pretty difficult. As we look back up to the front of the pack now, the Sheesh pulls away a bit. The Simo's taken over. Pump Mastiff for second. Breno in fourth with the Renault up his inside. Will they touch? Manages to avoid it, I think. Whitey gets his nose out of there. Avoids damage. Lives to fight another day as he gets a wobbler on going through 13 onto the back straight. Gets undercut by the Mercedes. As we head down the back straight now, stream of cars in the background there. We're on board with Very Angry Sidepod, who's got Blinky ahead. 3 cars. Will he have a look up the inside? Blinky goes up the inside of Whitey, takes the spot. There's cars running wide everywhere. But pretty much any major trouble avoided for now. In the back, oh, and there's Mort again. He finds contact with still the Shears, knocks a good chunk off the McLaren's front wing, and those two will have to head to the pits immediately, and they do. Repairs required after lap 1, unsurprising given the treacherous conditions. Bray Train now, he's had a bit of a mischief in the background that we missed. He's well behind the pack now, could use a safety car. Does he have damage as well? Doesn't appear so. He's going to try and catch up that pack as soon as he can. So back up front we go. Well, that's tactics. We need to find the big sheesh. First place. Still just ahead of the Simo. Not letting him out of his side. A gap's formed. Back to Pump Mastiff in third. Who in turn has opened up a bit of a gap to the 4th place Breno. Now with Blinky right on his tail. And not far behind them is cousin Jason. So plenty happening as expected on these wet first laps of the Chinese Grand Prix. And this is round 6 of the Australia-New Zealand Open Wheel Division 1 Championship. It's our pleasure to have you wherever you may be watching from. And remember, if you are watching on live, please join us in the comments. Give us your tips, predictions, anything you see, anything I've missed. Jump in and let us know. We keep an eye on the Renault of Jay Whitey, new member of the league this week. He's got Hordo looking pretty punchy behind him, but tucks back in. Decides now's not the moment. Meanwhile, very angry side pod in front of them. Just starts to drive away now. Behind those two, we've got Tactics in 10th, Jay Kelly in 11th. Boss Goins come into the pits. Does he require repairs in the half? That's an A-firm. Front wing goes off, new one comes on. Now, very angry sidepod, having driven away from his teammate Whitey, has moved straight onto the back of cousin Jason in the 6th place Mercedes. And an overtake could be imminent here. Further down the field, this is interesting. I think Boss Goins come out right in between Mort and still the Shears, who pitted 1 lap earlier for repairs. So mini battle of sorts going on down there for 12th currently. Now we'll go back to very angry side pod. He is still looking at the rear wing of cousin Jason, who's now got his nose tucked in pretty close to the gearbox of Blinky in 5th place. There's your position changes on screen, and the very angry side pod, clearly the man on the move. Started last in 15th, now in 7th, relishing the wet conditions. Still a long way to go though, 28 laps, half distance, Chinese Grand Prix in front of you today. And we're only just 4 laps in now, so plenty to unfold. Speaking of, cousin Jason unfolds to the outside of the track at turn 1. And he'll have to tuck back into 7th. Hands the honours over to very angry side pod and says, you go get Blinky. And Julie pops right in behind the Alfa Romeo now. All the while, still keeping Breno inside. Here goes the move now as Blinky runs wide out of 6. And very angry side pod makes that position gain at number 10 for the race in just 4 laps. Looking hot to trot. Next victim on the list, Breno in the lead McLaren. Meanwhile out front, the Simo Still keeping the Big Sheesh in sight. Big Sheesh currently sitting second in the championship, 13 points behind the Simo. And would be loving the opportunity to try and close that points gap. So third place man in the point standing is Mort, who's had a struggle of a race so far down there in 12th. But commendable effort from Mort actually to be third in the championship, considering he has not had a win yet after the first 5 rounds. We've had 4 different winners in the first 5 rounds. Mort yet to bag one, but consistent, as we see Very Angry Side Pod go Very Angry wide out of the final corner. No harm, no foul. Well, maybe might have caught the eye of the stewards. That's yet to be seen. Plenty of time for penalties to be given out today. None yet so far. As we go into lap 5 of the Chinese Grand Prix, and Hot Mastiff has closed the gap up in third a little bit. We've got a yellow flag. Who's cooked it? I think it's on the start-finish straight. It's Jay Kelly. He's done an Alex Albon there. Ooh, yeah. Oh, watch it. So he's going to have to do a full tour with that damage now. Front right end plate clearly absent from the racing point. So he's going to have to make his way right round the circuit. It's showing full course yellow. There's the first penalty. A safety car. Okay, so it didn't say safety car, but we know now well and truly it is. And that would be because, is it... Who's gone off? Did anyone else go off? I think it's just because of the incident of Jay Kelly. Must be debris on the track. Too wet. Who knows? But during the melee, Bosco got a drive-through, not a time penalty. My mistake, so he'll have to make one full pass through the pits. No stop. So this will give the others a chance now. Plenty dropped out the back. We saw Mort, Bosco, Still the Shiz, and Bray Train have their races severely compromised. Actually, Very Angry Side Pod's going to jump in and take on what I would assume is a new set of Inters. Oh, did he have damage? He had damage as well. So I was looking for a Renault off there earlier. I thought I might have been losing my mind, but he did have damage. So gets it sorted, gets going once more. Behind him is Blinky. He definitely needs some new nose work. Serves his penalty while he's there, 5 seconds worth. And so that's another new Alfa Romeo front wing heading out onto the Chinese circuit. And he's going to be racing his teammate there. Just gets out in front. Is he with us, Blinky? Might have left the session. So a chance for those guys behind to catch up. Still the Shears, still a fair way back there. Bosco does his drive-through. Was it a drive-through or was it a pit stop? Drive-through still showing against his nail. I'm not sure if he can take those under the safety car. Not 100% sure at all. He's got Still the Shiz just behind him now. Jay Kelly up in front. So the safety car will need to make another tour as this lot still make their way round to the pack. I'm going to take this opportunity to take a small break. Don't go too far because the race restart will be just around the corner and we wouldn't want you to miss it. Lap 8 of the Chinese Grand Prix. This is the Australia-New Zealand Open Wheel Division 1 Championship. We've had a safety car. The field is bunched back up. They're all back in position. Bar for Bray Train lobs right in the middle of the pack there. But the good news is the lights are out on the safety car and we are about to go racing once more. Simo getting ready to harass the big sheesh. Simo first in the championship. The big sheesh second. What will transpire as we get racing once more? Down, I thought there was driver out of shape in the back. I'm not sure if that was just Bray Train being generous and trying to get out of the way of the field. He is. That's smart. What's Very Angry Side Pod done? Oh, it's not Very Angry Side Pod, it's Whitey. He's left a massive gap. Go to the rest of the field. So the first 5 get away up front. Very Angry Side Pod chucks it up the inside of Tactics, who's potentially going to lose out to Cousin Jason on the outside. Where's the Mercedes? He's tucked back inside. Now goes around the outside. Tactics couldn't pick up the traction. I guess going once more. And we've got Jay Kelly. He's in trouble again. In trouble finding his feet in the wet conditions at the moment. Totally forgivable. There's plenty of wet out there at the moment. It'd be like an absolute ice skating rink. You see the Alfa Romeo's line astern once more. As we go to the front of the field. Now look at this. Porto in the Red Bull. Closing in on the McLaren of Breno. I'm not sure these two like each other after last week's incident at the Hungarian Grand Prix, or it was a fortnight ago. The two made contact on more than one occasion. And sure enough, after 9 laps, we've got them right next to each other on track once more. Breno 4th, Porto 5th. Porto currently sits 4th in the championship, just behind 3rd place Mort. Porto picking up a win 2 races ago, I think it was. Certainly looking to add to that tally. He's got his nemesis Breno to get through first. Now as they come scooting down, the start-finish straight once more. The big sheesh and the Simo pick up where they left off. Here goes Horto pretty wide now. Not sure if he's looking to make a move. I think it's just a different line through that corner. But either way, he's looking pretty close through turn 3 now. Gets on the power much better out of 4. He's going to have the outside line for 5. If he can get alongside the McLaren, he's pretty close. We see Breno lock his outside left front going into the corner, but holds the position. Horto now having to look to the outside once more. This is going to be a tough spot to get anything done. Fast left-hander through 7. Got the right-hander of 8 to negotiate. They'll slow right down for 9. Horto watching, waiting, looking to pick his moment. And we've got Jay Kelly off in the background again once more. He's got it going again though as Horto gets later on the brakes to the outside of Breno. They're going to go side by side through 13. The Red Bull, the McLaren. Who's going to give way? Breno has to in the end. He's going to tuck back in behind the Red Bull though. Might have an opportunity going down the back straight. Can he pick up a toe? No DRS in these conditions. As they fly down to 14, will Horto defend? He chooses not to, but he's been later on the brakes so far. He's backing himself in. Breno up the inside as the Red Bull goes wide, but gathers it up once more. He's going to have the inside line. He's going to be ahead to the final corner. And that place could be Horto's now. 4th spot. Good clean racing though. Meanwhile, up ahead, the Simo has closed in to within half a second. Jay Kelly's gone, actually. He has left the session. And that leaves us with 13 runners. So lap 11 of the Chinese Grand Prix. We've got 13 runners left. The big sheesh leads the way. from the championship leader, the Simo. Pump Mastiff in third. He's always been there or thereabouts so far in this race, but can't quite keep up with the first two. Field's really spreading out now. Actually, Boss Gowan's got a 5-second time penalty there now. I think that's differed from his... I think he had a drive-through before. Not a happy day for himself. And nor for the Bray train, who did depart the session somewhere in the middle there. Actually, we'll go down to Boss Gowan as he's busy harassing Blinky. And that's around the outside of turn 8, of all places. So, not happy to sit back and watch. He just wants to get it done. And let's go past. Takes 12th position. Back up front to the big sheesh. Trying to settle into a bit of a groove. He's just having to keep half an eye behind him. The Simo watching, waiting for an error. Waiting to pounce on a mistake. Now, in that first segment of the race before the safety car, we saw the man on the move was the Very Angry Side Pod. And he is still continuing to scoot his way along. He's slowly honing in on the back of Breno. I'll keep an eye up front at the moment. And having said that about the Very Angry Side Pod, it's also worth noting that Hordo himself is slowly making up time on Pump Mastiff in third. Getting me Mercedes switched up. Actually, we might just check down with the Very Angry Side Pod if we can. There he is. And there's Breno. Firmly in his sights as they come out of 13 and make their way onto the start finish back straight. Might be the finish for some drivers, but not these two. They're planning on making it right through to the checkered flag, and Very Angry Side Pod intends on doing it in front of Breno. Locks that tyre. Breno gets a little out of shape. Compromised. Plenty of wheel spin from Very Angry Side Pod. Actually, Breno goes in. So he wants... There's those tyre situation. He wants new tyres. Actually, yeah, Very Angry Side Pod. He pitted during the safety car and took on a new front wing and new tyres. So they seem to be just paying off that little bit more. As you can see, he's the highest runner on the lowest amount of laps on those tyres. 6 laps compared to those around him who've been on them since the start. All probably looking to do a one-stop race. I suppose essentially they've all got one stop to go at this situation. I wouldn't think a side pod's going to push those to the end, but I'm not 100% sure in saying that. Tends to be what I say, the opposite happens. Now we better pop back to the front of the field here because the Simo was pretty close for a short amount of time there. So Breno's been in, got himself a fresh set of inters, popped out just in front of his teammates. Still the Shiz, they're down there in 10th and 11th, respectively. Another battle worth noting, we might pop to it in a second, see how these two go for a moment. But Mort in 8th, after a shocker of a start, finds himself now in 8th and getting ready to harass Tactics, who holds 7th spot. So Pump Mastiff jumps out of 3rd into the pits. That promotes Hordo to 3rd. There's the Mercedes on your screen. Nice quick stop. Where's that going to drop him? Will he get out in front of Tactics and Mort. Tactics flying down the start-finish straight now, about to sweep around the outside of the Mercedes. Does so. Mort left behind. Oh, and Tactics goes wide. Gives the spot straight back. Has to find a route out of there without touching the grass. Decides to take to the grass over 3 and lets Mort through. Got put off by that the side of that Mercedes coming out of the pits. Saw the number 46 flashing to his right, and it threw him off. Put him off in more ways than one. Unfortunate, but plenty of time to recover and get back up onto the back of Mort. So back with the leaders, the Simo. That gap now 3/10. This is as close as he's been. Flying down the back straight. But that Williams of the Big Sheesh has got plenty of straight line speed. Keeps the Ferrari at bay. At least for another lap. So we've hit halfway distance now. They're both coming into the pits together. Oh, goes wide the Ferrari into Lewis Hamilton's favourite spot. And back to 2007. Closes in well and truly too. Got the better job done finding the pit limiter at the last possible moment. Tyres go on. Very Angry Side Pod inherits the lead. There's Hordo as well from 3rd place. I think Whitey's in as well. He is. So Cousin Jason's coming through. So a bit of a shake-up in the standings. Those two come out just ahead of Pump Mastiff. So Pump Mastiff made up plenty of ground on those laps. He got to put in, 2 laps ahead of these two on the fresher inters. But now they've got fresh inters of their own. As we see Hordo's come out just behind Mort. And we'll be looking to dispatch him pretty quickly. Who's that? I thought we had a McLaren dueling. I think I've imagined that one. Still the Shiz down there in 10th. And all the drivers doing pretty well at the moment. They've all kept it pretty much on the concrete. No major incidents to speak of so far. Here's Hordo eyeing off Mort. This could be where the next overtaking manoeuvre comes from. Red Bull driver now lining up the Alfa Romeo. Seemed to have a better, got pretty wide. Did seem to have the better line through 13. Was keen as mustard to get on the gas. Actually, he's done him. Mort relegated immediately. And that'll be 5th spot again for Hordo. Now he can work on, he's got 5 seconds to the lead pack. 5 seconds to Pump Mastiff, who has dropped off the back of the Simo once more. The Simo. Just half a second. I mean, it says half a second. It looks a lot less than that on screen. Number 15 Ferrari. Looming large in the mirrors of the Williams. They've got about 12 seconds. Oh, here we go. Is this the move he's been waiting to make? Can't make it happen. Big sheesh. Under all sorts of pressure now. It's a Very Angry Side Pod going to do. Actually, the Very Angry Side Pod's picked up a penalty there. We better take a look at those as we look down from up on high at the Ferrari of the Simo hunting the Williams. But just can't quite make it happen at the moment. Pump Mastiff, never far away. So, Tactics with a ton of penalties already. 13 seconds worth behind Boss Gowen's 5. And Horto picked up 3 seconds as well. So that could hurt him, given he's the one chasing at the moment. That could hurt him. And the man in front, in the lead, very angry side pod with 3 seconds of penalties of his own. So lap 17. Big Sheesh in the lead, effectively assuming very angry side pod's going to pit again. I'm going to say he has to. I don't think those inters can last, well, a hell of a lot longer. They're at 10 laps now. I wonder if he'd be better served jumping in now and just getting him out of the way and doing another 10 laps on them. Who's in the pits? We've got still the Shiz. Goes on his way once more. I'm not sure if he had damage that required fixing. Cousin Jason just ahead of him departs the pit lane as well. Actually, what's going on down there? Is that... I've looked at the wrong driver, but I think it was Whitey. I'm trying to find who that is down there. It's very angry side pod. So I think he was just lapping Blinky. Yes, it was Blinky, not an overtake manoeuvre worth speaking of, sorry. Got a bit excited over nothing. Here is Mort in 9th with his eyes on 8th position, closing in on the Haas of Boscoen. See, another penalty's been dished out there. It's to Cousin Jason this time, 5 seconds. So I'm not sure what, I assume that's for speeding in the pit lane. Can Mort take that spot off Boscoen? He's going to have a think about it into the hairpin here. Should... Oh, no. The Haas goes late on the brakes. Too late. And the Alfa Romeo will skip through up the inside. Takes the spot off him. A bit further down, the battle for 10th place starting to heat up with Cousin Jason moving in onto the gearbox of tactics. This could be where our next manoeuvre comes from. Unless Boscoen has something to say about Mort's little effort. I don't like being away from the lead pack too much. Don't want to miss a overtaking manoeuvre, but don't want to take my eyes off the lead pack either. These three have just been pretty much line astern the whole 18 laps so far. 10 to go. Who's going to blink first? It's been pretty solid, the big sheet. And the same goes for the Simo, trying to track him. As they come around the final corner to commence lap 19. And they're slowly closing that gap on the very angry side pod too, so he's going to have to pit at some stage soon. Take on a new set of inters. Just under 10 laps to go now. So given the wet conditions, the driver's looking pretty settled at this stage. All pretty much well and truly in control. Full credit. Full credit to the boys, as we love saying. Oh, and looking pretty untidy or anything there. I think we've got the Alfa Romeos Yeah, that's Twinkie getting lapped again by his teammate this time. Lets his fellow Alpha driver through cleanly. Now, when's this man going to pit? That's the next question. And where does it put him on track? I'm not sure how long the pit stop here is exactly. Goes around for another tour. So he's got a 24-second gap over Breno. I think that's going to be roughly where he'd be looking to slot back into the race should he pit now. But a pit stop can't be far away for the very angry side pod in that lead Renault. Either way, looking good for a top 6 finish. Impressive given his 15th place starting position. Back to our effective look on it, and I'm talking as if he is definitely going to pit. I don't know that 100%. If he doesn't though, I'm not sure what condition those tyres are going to be in either by the end of the race, but I'm still going to go with the assumption that a pit stop is imminent. Now the Simo there in second, he must be going mad, knowing he just can't quite get close enough to the big sheesh. Imagine what this race would have been like with a bit of DRS interference. Concentration levels must be through the roof for these guys. Every corner, every braking zone, every turn of the wheel. In these conditions, you know you're just one slip up, one major moment away from disaster. Seven laps to go. Very angry side pod's gone around once more. So this is pretty amazing. Pretty much the closest battle on track happening in the first two positions. Cousin Jason and Tactics still duking it out down there. Simo holds a 16-point advantage over second place Big Sheesh in the championship. A win here would see that gap reduced by 7 points, assuming Simo finishes second. Really looking to chew into that deficit. Simo might have something to say about it by the end of the race. Still a bit of time to go. As I said, every lap would feel like a year to these guys, given the conditions. Very angry side pod goes through again, goes very wide on that corner. Still just the 3 seconds in penalties for himself and Hordo in 5th spot. Hordo unable to close that gap to Pump Mastiff. The very angry side pod goes on, the more I'm thinking he's not going to stop. Is he going to try and hold on to this here? He knows what he's going to do. He knows in his mind what his plan is. It's up to me to try and guess. Wonder if he's listening to me right now. seems to be just carrying enough speed to make this happen, assuming those tyres don't fall well and truly off the cliff. The gap's reducing by every lap. There's only 6 to go, and the gap's 5.5 seconds back to the second place Big Sheesh. So plenty of drama yet to unfold in this race. We've got a yellow flag. It's Mort has cooked it. There he is, facing the wrong way on track. And that's going to be a safety car. Oh, and if the very angry side pod... Is it a safety car? I haven't seen it say safety car, but... Either way, Mort's gone. Binned it once more. Another Alfa Romeo wing, front wing, bites the dust. I've had more nose work today than Michael Jackson, that crew. Front wing's getting destroyed left, right and centre. So we're back racing once more. It must have been, it was a virtual safety car. Good news for Very Angry Side Pod. We're getting no graphics on the screen telling us whether it's safety car or virtual safety car, but we are green once more. 5 laps to go. Very Angry Side Pod. The gap, 5 seconds. He needs to keep it above. Oh, gets it well sideways. Did very well to catch that. Cost him half a second. My word. He was almost heading off for an accident there. And now you can see the other guys in the same shot in the background. A Very Angry Side Pod. He needs to keep this gap above 3 seconds. Having picked up that 3-second time penalty immediately puts the gap back to 5 seconds. So as soon as he lost that time with a slide, went and gathered it back up and took his half a second back. The Big Sheesh still being monitored by the Simo, who in turn has the Pump Mastiff just watching him from a bit of a distance. They haven't budged, these three. They're like on a string together. I'm going to give a little shout out to Blinky there too. Now just moves up in 12th place. Finally passes Mort's position. But a shout out to Blinky. Despite being 1 lap down, hasn't retired, just kept it going. And as we say that, the Big Sheesh goes and punches in a purple first sector, knocks that gap to the Very Angry Side Pod down to 4.3 seconds. Finally finds a bit of space. But not much. Back to the Simo. The gap just over a second now. 4.1 up the road to the Very Angry Side Pod. 4 laps remaining. Has this race got something else in store for us yet? We're about to come up on Blinky. Actually, I mentioned Blinky having not left the session. Is he? Maybe he was gone years ago. That might suggest it. Alright, need that shout out back, mate. Just doing his surveillance laps, surveying the track. As Pump Mastiff goes past him in the background. So we've got 4 laps to go. They start the 4th last lap, lap 25. We've got 26, 27, 28 remaining. as this pack of three try to close in on the Very Angry Side Pod. They need to get within 3 seconds of him, as that 3-second time penalty looms large over the head of the Renault. The gap is now 3.7. And at this rate, the Big Sheesh is looking pretty good for his third win of the season. Wet conditions throughout the entirety of this race. Further down, we'll just have a little check-in with, who was that? Is that someone in the pits? No. Cousin Jason closing in on the back of the 8th placed Haas, driven by Boss Goen. Those two just making their way around the turn 6 hairpin. And it looks like the Very Angry Side Pod at the front of the field, delaying the inevitable now. The gap. 3 seconds. Just a shame he got that time penalty. Could have been quite a cracker. Oh, and that Mercedes of Cousin Jason, well out of shape behind the Haas. Ducking and weaving all over the joint. Kept it together though. And his teammate, Pump Mastiff, now appears to be struggling himself somewhat. He's dropped off that front pack, so I'm not sure if he's had a moment or not. Here goes Cousin Jason. Had a bit of a look down the outside. Didn't get close enough. And Pump Mastiff up ahead now in 4th, in danger of getting caught by Hordo before the end of the race, but Hordo harbours that 3-second time penalty of his own. Now we need to go back up to the front of the pack here, because the Big Sheesh is closing in on race leader Very Angry Side Pod at a huge rate of knots. And you just wonder, given he has the time penalty, Very Angry Side Pod, how hard will he make it for these two to pass him? And if he does, will that give the Simo an opportunity to pass the Williams in amongst the melee? We've got 2 laps to find out, this one and the next. Could be something in store for us yet. Make their way out of turn 4. The gap to the Very Angry Side Pod, now 1 second. Oh, and the Williams goes well and truly wide there. Allows the Simo to close right in on his gearbox. As soon as Pump Mastiff dropped off the pack, they caught the Very Angry Side Pod, and once more we have the first 3 in the same shot. 1.5 laps to go. Here goes the Big Sheesh now, homing right in on the back of that Renault. As they make their way onto the back straight. The yellow, the blue, the red, filing their way down over 310 k's an hour into the hairpin. Oh, and the Side Pod struggling on those tyres, goes wide out of the corner. Will he make this easy for the Big Sheesh? Doesn't have much of a choice. And I think he did the right thing there too. Got right out of the way of the Simo as well. A commendable move from the Side Pod. Could have been a thorn in their side. Once he'd made it difficult for himself, he made it easy for these two. Pretty much allowing the natural course of the race to happen. Nice presence of mind there. Nice gentlemanly move from the Renault driver. Good to see. And now these two can get back at it, but they're on their last lap. Time running out for the Simo. What's he going to do, if anything? Given all we've seen so far, you wouldn't think he'd be able to catch the Williams in this remaining lap. We'll take a quick look down at cousin Jason, who's looking for a potential move on tactics for 9th place. Doesn't need to make the move with the tactics holding an extra 5 seconds in time penalties, but he's going to go up the inside anyway, up to the hairpin. The Williams decides to stick it around the outside. I think he's got damage at Williams. Oh, the Mercedes enjoying getting well out of shape once more. Can't make it happen. So down the back straight for the final time, the Big Sheesh and the Simo. They've been like Siamese twins this whole race. Just with each other the entire way. But with no change in the positions. And a solid drive from the Williams driver. The Big Sheesh takes and the Simo right behind. And very angry side pod. He's going to come across the line in 3rd, but relegated to 4th. And it's full credit to Pump Mastiff. Solid effort as well. Horto grabs 5th. He certainly had some pace and did a pretty solid job, having started from 13th on the grid. You would assume driver of the day would go to the very angry side pod. Made up a plethora of places. Breno, 6th spot, goes to the McLaren driver, crosses the line, takes the checkered flags from some rando marshal up on the stand there. Whitey, welcome to the league, son. Brings the 2nd Renault over the line in 7th. And Boscoen, a good 8th place. He's going to pick up. Just got the final corner. And we've got cousin Jason off down there in 11th. So he has chucked away a point. That's unfortunate. Still the Shiz is going to pinch that one off him. So still the Shiz is going to grab 9th place after the 2nd Williams of Tactics gets relegated following 13 seconds of time penalties to go. And at the end, well done, still the Shiz. 9th place. Driver of the day goes to very angry side pod. No surprises there. Solid drive. Very well done. Did it all in one stop. And that presence of mind to let the leaders through at the end there and have their battle. But the man of the moment, still the Shiz, takes the top tier of the podium, followed by the Simo Pump Mastiff. Well done, gentlemen. Solid driving. Good, clean effort in those wet conditions. So much potential for so many more accidents. Remember, this is a no-assist league. No racing line, no traction control, no anti-lock brakes. These guys are doing it all on their own. And full simulation damage. Hats off to the lot of them. A solid race. There's your results on the screen. And that will pretty much bring us to the end of another edition of the Australia-New Zealand Open Wheel Division 1 Championship. This has been round 6 from China. I'm your host, Mike Wilson. Thank you very much for joining us wherever you have been watching. Until next time, it's bye for now.